ready for a deep dive. We're really going to try to unlock this ancient secret of the flower of life, at least volume 2, with Drunvalo Melchizedek.
Yeah, his ideas about consciousness and hidden geometry, they're definitely out there. But that's what makes it fun to unpack, right?
Totally. Right from the get-go, Melchizedek claims there's this one geometric image that ties together like all levels of consciousness. Concentric circles, squares, the phi ratio, any of this ringing a bell.
Oh, the phi ratio, the golden ratio. Yeah, that's everywhere in nature. Flowers, seashells, even our DNA. It's naturally balanced, harmonious.
And Melchizedek says those geometric pairings that perfectly express that ratio, those represent the first and third levels of human consciousness. But get this, he says, humanity, right now we're in a disharmonious state, like our own geometry is a bit off.
He even links that to like why we pollute the planet, why we have wars, almost like our internal state is messing up the outside world too.
Okay, that's wild. So how do we fix it? How do we reach those other levels of consciousness?
Well, Melchizedek introduces us to this woman, Lucy Lammy. He said she was practically swimming in ancient Egyptian mysteries, and she made this drawing. This drawing is supposed to be the key to understanding these states of awareness, these levels.
A drawing? Hold on, like a treasure map to higher consciousness. I'm intrigued. What's on it?
It's pretty complex, but there are Fibonacci spirals. Remember, those are tied to the phi ratio. There's a grid system and something he calls the CBS eye. He says that eye is how the first level of consciousness sees the world.
CBS eye. Okay, now he's just messing with us. Is that like a real eye symbolic? What?
Think of it like a filter. Our perception stuck at this first level, it limits how we experience everything.
Right. Okay, that makes a little more sense. So we've got consciousness levels, a mysterious drawing, but how does the flower of life fit in? That's the whole point of the book, right?
That's where Leonardo da Vinci comes in. Melchizedek claims even he studied and used the flower of life. He points to the unknown Leonardo, da Vinci's sketches, where he's obsessed with these geometric ratios.
Wait, da Vinci, the Mona Lisa guy, he was into sacred geometry.
That's what Melchizedek argues. He even says some of da Vinci's inventions, like his flying machine designs, came directly from ratios found in the flower of life.
Whether da Vinci knew the deeper meaning or not, the fact that he was drawn to that geometry, that's pretty cool.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like maybe these patterns have a power that people throughout history have tapped into, even if we don't always realize it.
And speaking of places with potential hidden power, what about the Great Pyramid? Melchizedek connects the queen's chamber, the king's chamber, all back to those 3 levels of consciousness.
He describes this whole initiation process like a journey through the pyramid. And he says the Fibonacci spiral, which is part of the flower of life too, acts as a map to navigate dimensions within the pyramid.
Okay, hold up. Dimensions, now we're in an Indiana Jones movie.
Remember, he's often speaking metaphorically. These dimensions aren't necessarily physical places. They're more like states of being, levels of awareness.
Right, expanding our consciousness, not literally hopping through portals. But why Egypt? What's so special about it?
Melchizedek sees ancient Egypt as this vault of lost knowledge, a civilization that truly got these principles, these geometries, and encoded them into everything. Their buildings, their rituals, even how they understood the human body. He's saying that we can learn from that, unlock that wisdom.
And knowing Melchizedek, that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? There's a lot more to uncover here.
Oh, definitely. Just wait until we get into the left eye of Horus Mysteries. That's when things get really wild.
So we're talking ancient Egypt, hidden knowledge, but how do we even access that? Do we book a flight, go meditate in a pyramid?
Maybe skip the plane ticket for now. Melchizedek says the real journey starts within. He points to the left eye of Horus Mysteries, says that's a path to unlock what's hidden inside us.
Left eye of Horus Mysteries. Okay, break that down for me.
Basically, he's talking about practices focused on what he calls the feminine aspects of consciousness. Intuition, creativity, emotional stuff, even psychic abilities. He says these got pushed down, suppressed throughout history.
Suppressed? Why would anybody want to get rid of that?
Good question.
Right.
But Melchizedek says understanding these energies, especially the feminine side, it's crucial for humanity to evolve. He even brings up those tools found in Egyptian tombs, the hook and the flail, says they're more than just decorations.
Wait, they had a purpose?
He thinks they were used in rituals, like to activate these dormant energies within us. He even connects it to King Tut. There's that mural at Abu Simbel, remember, showing them being used for resurrection.
Resurrection, like bringing someone back from the dead resurrection.
It's probably metaphorical, more like a spiritual rebirth, an awakening.
Okay, so we're awakening these feminine energies, and that ties into the whole ceremony whole thing.
Melchizedek is vague about the details, but he suggests it's an intense initiation. You confront your deepest fears, got to overcome them to progress.
So facing your fears, that's part of this awakening.
Exactly. He connects that to the temple at Kamambo, too. That place is all about duality, balance. He's saying we got to work through that internal stuff, those fears, to grow spiritually.
It's amazing how he ties together history, symbols, his own experiences. It's like this giant puzzle. But just when you think you're getting a handle on it, he brings up a new generation of children. Says they're the key to humanity's future.
Yeah. The children of a new dawn, he calls them. It's a big theme for him. He talks about meeting them in these mystical experiences, even in the ceremony hall.
What's so special about these kids? They born enlightened or something?
He believes they have this higher consciousness naturally, like they already understand the stuff most adults struggle with. He even brings up beings called Hathors, says they're helping humanity with sound and healing, and links them to these kids.
All right. Gotta admit, this is where I start thinking maybe he needs to cut back on the meditation retreats. But before we go too far down the rabbit hole, let's get back to basics. The flower of life, the actual geometry, what's he say about that?
Eventually, he circles back, starts breaking down the flower of life's geometry.
Yeah.
He focuses on the number 7, how it's hidden in the pattern. 7 smaller circles fit perfectly inside a larger one, which he links to the fruit of life, another pattern.
So like a code within a code.
Exactly. He sees that as proof of this harmony, this principle that's working not just in geometry, but in the universe.
And that ties into consciousness too, right? The chakras and all that.
Totally. Melchizedek gets deep into the chakra system, starts with the 8 major ones, compares them to musical scales, how energy flows. But then he brings up this 13 chakra system, says it's a more complete picture.
Okay, for those of us who haven't taken Chakra 101, give us the SparkNotes version.
Imagine spinning wheels of energy all along your spine. Each one's connected to different parts of you: physical, emotional, spiritual. The 13 chakra system adds 5 more outside your physical body, so you're tapping into even subtler energies.
So what's the big difference between 8 and 13?
He talks about this half step between what he calls the personal heart chakra and the universal heart chakra. He says that shift is huge for reaching higher consciousness, connecting to this universal love that's bigger than just us.
Like upgrading your soul's Wi-Fi or something.
Right. Expanding how much love, compassion, connection you can experience, not just with people, but with everything.
And speaking of connection, things get really interesting when he brings up light, sexual energy, and the Ankh all at once. Talk about a power trio.
This is where he talks about ancient Egyptian practices, but not just sex for pleasure, sex for spiritual growth.
Wait, the Egyptians were using sex to become enlightened? Tell me more.
He describes specific techniques way beyond what we usually think about. Melchizedek says when it's done with the right intention, with control, the orgasm can generate huge amounts of pranic energy. That's the life force energy. It's in everything.
Okay, that's definitely a new perspective.
And he uses the Ankh symbol, like
Yeah.
it's a visual guide for how to move that energy through your body.
Not just a pretty design, it's an instruction manual. Sacred sexuality takes on a whole new meaning. But then from chakras and sex, he jumps to the Merkaba. What is that? Some kind of energy drink?
He describes it as a field of light, but it's made by these rotating tetrahedrons. And he says it surrounds the human body. Then he connects it to personalities, as we each have 8 inside us.
8 personalities. Is this like
Yeah.
multiple personalities? Should we be worried?
Not exactly. Think of it like different sides of yourself. He links these personalities to the points on a star tetrahedron. You know, the 3D star made of 2 tetrahedrons. Each point is a different aspect of you.
So how do we meet these personalities? Is there a personality test for that?
Melchizedek says you have to activate this Merkaba, and you do that through meditation.
This is his Merkaba meditation. Sounds intense.
It is. Breathing techniques, hand gestures, visualization, all to get this light field going strong and harmonize those different parts of yourself. But he's very clear. This is serious stuff. Don't try this at home alone, kids.
Yeah, I'm getting don't try this at home vibes for sure.
He says respect and preparation are key, and he warns about things going wrong, misinterpreting what you experience. It's not just closing your eyes and hoping for the best. It's about awareness, consciously changing yourself.
All right, so we've got spinning energy centers, ancient Egyptian sex practices, and light fields made of geometry. This is a lot to take in. What's next on this wild ride?
Hold on tight, because just when you think you're wrapping your head around the Merkaba, he throws in auras and the idea that we might have company in our energy fields. Like literally, he's talking entities.
Entities, like ghosts. Should I get a priest and a vacuum cleaner?
He describes them more like messed up thought forms, negative energy that gloms onto your aura and messes with your growth, even your physical health.
Okay, that took a turn. How do we get rid of these energy vampires?
Melchizedek says love, plain and simple. Love is the ultimate healer. He even tells stories about using love and compassion to help people get rid of these entities.
So no sage burning, just straight up love.
Basically, he says love can heal your heart, your mind, your body, and your energy.
Powerful stuff. It's like love is the ultimate multi-tool, fixes everything.
Right. And to dig into this transformation idea even more, he brings up the 3 levels of self. Higher self, lower self, which is Mother Earth, by the way, and you, the individual, stuck in the middle. He says connecting to both your higher self and Mother Earth, that's how you really grow.
So it's not enough to be a head in the clouds spiritual type. You got to be grounded, too.
Exactly. Balance between heaven and earth. And get this, he makes Mother Earth sound hilarious, like she's messing with us sometimes.
Mother Earth with a sense of humor, I like it. But then he goes back to the higher self. How do we actually tap into that wisdom?
He tells this story about a Japanese man who could talk to his higher self, but through automatic writing.
Automatic writing, like channeling, taking dictation from the beyond.
Yeah. Melchizedek says this guy could write in a language from somewhere else, full of weird symbols and shapes. And get this, they bring him in front of all these people, and the language he's writing, it's real. It's on this big board, like his higher self is putting on a show.
Talk about proof. That's amazing.
It shows how the higher self can reach out in unexpected ways, make sure you know it's there.
And Melchizedek seems to have a lot of these mystical encounters himself, talking to angels, getting guidance.
Oh, yeah. He says they'd tell him exactly what was going to happen, down to the tiniest detail.
Oh.
But as he grew spiritually, they backed off. Like they were saying, okay, you got this, kid.
Time to fly solo, but trusting your intuition, that's easier said than done.
Definitely. But Melchizedek has a challenge for you. Ask your higher self for a sign, something specific, something physical, to prove it's real.
Like a cosmic delivery service. I like it. But even if we connect with our higher selves, what about free will? If we're being guided, do we really have a choice?
Melchizedek wrestles with that too. He says free will is huge, fundamental to how this reality works. But then he says, yeah, there's also a bigger plan. It's a paradox.
The universe loves a good paradox. But then he goes on this whole tangent about Lucifer and how duality was created. Yeah. Where does that fit in?
This is where he gets really out there, talking about the origins of good and evil. He tells a story, says Thoth told it to him, about how Lucifer, not as the devil, but as this cosmic being, created duality, the good and bad we experience.
Hold up. So Lucifer's not evil. He's like our cosmic drama teacher.
Kind of. He's saying before this experiment, humanity was just vibing in unity consciousness, no concept of good or evil. Lucifer's actions, they seem bad, but it was to help us evolve by experiencing both sides.
Mind blown. That's a lot to process.
Right. He's asking us to look deeper, past the simple explanations. And he hints that there's a third option, beyond duality, where you combine that original unity with what Lucifer brought in.
A third option. How do we find that?
He says it's about shifting your perception. He even uses an example of crossing your eyes while looking at a specific drawing to show this merging of opposites.
Like those magic eye posters. Maybe there are hidden messages everywhere if you know how to look. But then he switches gears again. This time it's aliens.
He uses advanced ETs as examples of what humans could be. He says they figured out technology that works with nature, not against it.
So they're like humanity 2.0.
Kind of. He compares their tech to ours, points out that we rely on synthetic stuff, which he says won't survive the dimensional shift. He thinks we can learn from them, make tech that's in tune with natural laws.
So less pollution, more harmony. Sounds good to me. Speaking of, he eventually gets to the big shift, the dimensional one. What's the deal with that?
He says it's a process. We're gradually moving into a higher frequency of reality. He talks about a geomagnetic field collapsing, all our synthetic stuff falling apart, and then boom, we're in a new world, one where your thoughts and feelings, they just happen instantly.
Wait, thoughts become reality. So if I think about a giant cookie,
it might just appear. But he also says that our deepest fears can manifest too. And he tells a story about people who get so scared, they literally create their worst nightmares and the universe sends them back like, nope, not ready yet.
So what determines if we make it? Is there like a cosmic entrance exam?
He's clear. The good stuff we do now, the love, compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, that's not just being nice, it's how we survive in that new energy. What's inside becomes what's outside, literally.
It's like we're training for the Cosmic Olympics. Better get our mental game strong.
Exactly. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of part 2 of our deep dive. We've gone from the depths of human consciousness to the possibility of alien encounters. but there's still more to explore.
So last time on our deep dive with Drunvalo Melchizedek, things got pretty intense. We're talking dimensions shifting, thoughts becoming reality. Where do we even go from here?
Well, Melchizedek doesn't make this dimensional shift sound like a walk in the park. He says those first moments in the fourth dimension, it's like a trial by fire. Imagine everything you think, everything you feel, it just manifests around you. Instantly.
So all your deepest fears, your wildest dreams, they just become your reality.
Exactly. He even talks about these people who get there and they're so full of fear that they literally create nightmares around themselves. And the universe is like, nope, not ready, and sends them back to the third dimension.
Sounds rough. So what makes the difference? How do we pass this cosmic test?
He keeps coming back to this. The stuff we work on now, the love, the compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, that's not just spiritual fluff. That's our survival kit for this new reality, your internal state. That's your external world now.
So basically, be a good person or the universe will hand you your karma.
Something like that. But he's also realistic, facing your shadow self, accepting all of yourself, the good, the bad. That's hard work.
Definitely not for the faint of heart.
Right. Takes guts, honesty, willingness to see the stuff you usually hide from. But Melchizedek says when you do that, when you face your darkness, you find this strength inside you, a resilience that helps you face anything.
So it's not about being perfect, it's about being whole, accepting all the pieces.
Exactly. And when you can do that for yourself, that's when you can truly offer compassion to others. That's what he says will change the world. That's the energy we need for this new era.
It's a beautiful idea, but it's also a huge responsibility. Are we really up for this? Changing the whole planet's consciousness?
Melchizedek seems to think so, and he points to those special kids, the indigos, the AIDS children, the psychic kids in China, as proof. All these kids with these incredible abilities, and they seem to just get it, this higher consciousness stuff.
Like they were born already knowing the answers.
In a way, yeah. He thinks these kids are here to wake us all up, remind us of what we're capable of. He even says they might be the reason this whole dimensional shift isn't way more intense, like they're smoothing things out for us.
Little cosmic helpers, that's heartwarming. But what about all our tech? Our phones, computers, all of that. What happens to that in this new reality?
Melchizedek doesn't have great news on that front. He says our technology, especially how we use synthetic materials, it's just not going to fly in the fourth dimension. Those frequencies clash.
So it's back to the Stone Age for us.
He doesn't say it's hopeless. He talks about those advanced ETs again, how they figured out tech that works with nature, not against it. Tech that actually helps them evolve.
So less pollution, more connection. I like the sound of that.
Right. He wants us to imagine a future where technology helps us, helps the planet. Harmony, not harm.
So where do we even begin? We've covered so much. Geometry, chakras, aliens, even cosmic sex ed. What's the takeaway for the average person?
I think the biggest thing is Melchizedek doesn't want us to just memorize his words. He wants us to question things, be more aware, realize how much potential we have. He's not giving us all the answers. He's teaching us to ask better questions.
So it's not about blindly following. It's about waking up.
Exactly. He's saying we're not just along for the ride. We are creating this new world, whether we realize it or not. Mm-hmm. And every act of kindness, every time we choose courage, every bit of love we put out there, it matters. It makes a difference.
Wow. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the ancient secret of the flower of life, one thing's clear. It's not just an ancient secret anymore. It's a call to action. What will you create today?